and be comfortable. She will speak Xhosa, but that's the question. Will you be fine with grasping everything that members will say in English?
Yes, Honorable Chairperson, I will definitely indicate where I'm not cleared. Just one quick one, through your permission. Can you please...
I hope the intervention chair did not eat on my time. Okay. We have 5 minutes to interact, so I'll appreciate if you can be very brief so that you are able to do justice to your response, all your responses. The first question was, the SABC is required to broadcast events of national importance, like your minister's budget speeches, state of the nation, and all these other events. And I'm saying it's expected to do this thing in the 6 language groups as provided for in the national language policy framework. So I want your assessment in terms of what the SABC is doing with regard to this particular area.
Thank you, Honorable Teddy. At the moment, I would say these are the languages that have been covered so far. Your Zulu, your Pedi, your Tswana, Afrikaans has been covered, English as well. However, in terms of the interpretation, some of the events, they do not reach to another important majority. For instance, some events, they do not reach the interpretation to people living with disability. These national events also, in terms of the broadcasting, they are certain areas that are not inaccessible in terms of the digital space.
The SABC, when people talk about the SABC, the impression that is being created is that there are no positive things that are happening in the SABC. So I want you to try and assist by raising the morale of South Africans, by sharing with us some of the positive things that are happening in the SABC, beside all these other negative things that people always talk about.
Thank you, sir. The SABC, as the state broadcaster, it is the one public broadcaster that reaches to all, irrespective of your language, of your culture and religion. Because I think the reason why there is a lot of negativity and a lot of discrimination towards the SABC, because it is the public broadcaster. So everyone has got the right to say whatever they want to say, including your other broadcasters like your private media, your online. But one thing that I foresee as positive about the SABC is that it is one national broadcaster that reaches to millions of South Africans everywhere in the continent.
How many people are serving in the board of the SABC or are expected to serve in the board of the SABC?
It is expected to have 12 in the board, and the 9 would be your non-executive, which are the board members that oversee, and your 3, it is your operation executive that are including your group CEO, chief financial officer, and a representative in governance.
Who is that representative in government?
In governance, sir. Governance.
the three that you spoke about, your GCO, your COO, your CFO, there are those who are starting to suggest maybe we need to review their role there in the board. What is your take on that?
In my opinion, the board is at itself as a whole. They need to work as a collective team, including the non-executive members. In my view, it would not be correct to judge at a distance. In my view, that role of a group CEO, it's supported by other structures within the organization.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kungbela.
Molo mama Dingi.
Molo Tata.
Enkosi. Surely you have an experience about SABC as a South African. What part of your experience which made you to apply for this job?
Thank you, Honorable Kungubela. For me to accept the nomination, with my background, I'm very passionate about youth and women participation. I am an innovative person. I work very closely in the media space. I also play a big role in terms of the project and events management skill. I am an entrepreneur and have the ability to see something and bring innovative ideas. When I went through one of the requirements and your day-to-day, and one of the identified needs for the SABC was that of project and a collective and skills management, and also to rebrand the organization as a public broadcaster.
Why that? See, which made you to think that is a need, that there is a need?
Because of the negativity, and that over the years, we've seen that instead of the SABC as the public broadcaster that has that viewership, everyone in the country is excited, it has been that one that everyone is talking negativity. And also when we read, we see that there's been a decline. Apart from that, the content and also the storytelling has sort of detached. Not all the programs that as South African will resonate and we connect to as within the public broadcaster.
The preamble of the Broadcasting Act refers to a South African broadcasting system and its three elements. Can you name those and what do you understand about them?
Please repeat, sir.
I'm saying the preamble of the South African Broadcasting Act, in its preamble, speaks about the broadcasting system, which is comprising of three components. Can you name the three components? And what do you understand about each?
I do understand that there is a public broadcasting services, which is mandated matters, and your public commercial services, which is designed to generate the avenue. I'm not quite sure about the third one. I know of the two.
Okay, you have the idea, but do you want to comment about the performance of the commercial one? From your experience?
The commercial one is that one of the advertisers that they get to buy space, they get to occupy and come and invest within the SABC. Currently, I would say not very well over the past couple of years. It is in the public domain that the advertisers are not really coming on board as expected. There's been challenges in terms of attracting the investors.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kungbela.
Okay.
Honorable Van Dam, ready?
Thanks, Ms. Dingi. Thank you very much for making yourself available. I found it interesting that in your short intro, you didn't mention that you worked at Luthuli House in Communications, you were the PA to the current Chief Whip, Jackson Mthembu, and you were a full-time volunteer in Batabile Dlamini's office. I also find it interesting that you mention as your references Mr. Jacob G. Zuma, Ms. Batabile Dlamini, Ms. Edna Molewa, Mr. Jackson Mthembu, and Ms. Lindiwe Zulu. Are you going to be a political deployee on the SABC board?
Thank you, Honorable Van Dam. I am Cikizwa Dingi. I am an entrepreneur. I could have said, I could have hidden the references, and by not really mentioning that I worked in Luthuli House and Communications, it is not an issue for me. But I can assure you I'm not a politician nor intending to be a political affiliated, because it is clear the mandate of the SABC is to serve all, irrespective, no political affiliation. It is straightforward, no bias.
Why then do you list the president of the country, the leader of the ANC Youth Women's League, and various high-ranking ANC officials as your references? Should we as a committee call those people and ask them about your record? Why do you not list other people? Do you not list that to show us that you are very politically linked, you have access to the highest office in this country? Is that why you listed them? Why did you list those individuals? Why not other people?
Thank you, Honorable Van Dam. I did not send my CV. I did not nominate myself. I did highlight and raise this matter to the coordinator, Mr. Ngoma. I don't know if he has communicated, because when I discovered that the lady who nominated me, who used to work for us, did have my CV, which is an older version. And for this particular exercise, I wouldn't recommend those references. I do have an update, can I finish, ma'am? I do have an updated version of the curriculum vitae that has got the references, because I didn't only work in Luthuli House.
It's enough, I've got my answer.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is, this is the CV we have in front of us. If you wanted to put a different CV, you would have made plans to do that. You did not. And you have a CV in front of us, which shows off all your high political connections. Now, about your involvement in entrepreneurship, there was an allegation, or at least a finding in a report, that your company was the one that hired Mr. Thamsanqa Janji, the sign language interpreter for Utata Nelson Mandela's funeral. Is it correct that he was a hire of your company?
Thank you, Honorable Van Dam. I'd like to also start again for the CV. I did communicate, I did send an email when I picked it up that the CV that has been sent.
No, that's not the question I asked. We've moved
Okay.
on. But Thamsanqa Janji, please.
Yes, I am aware of that matter. I know the issue. However, I do not see the relevance of the nomination of Cikizwa Dingi to that matter because it was a matter between an employee and an employer, and it's a closed matter. I am not sure if you would expect me to divulge information that is between an employee and an employer.
Absolutely. We are here to judge you on your past record, and your record shows that you hired an individual who lied about what it was that he was capable of doing, so it absolutely is relevant. But questions, Chair, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Van Dam. I will give you an opportunity to further explain the CV question. Can do it now, ma'am.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I have an updated CV because I've worked in quite a number of entities. The Lutuli House, the employment at Lutuli House is not the employment at previously for me. I do have references, and I did communicate with the office in Parliament regarding the CV, as I picked it up that it might cause confusion. It was not meant for public distribution. However, the individual who nominated me apparently did send the CV. Not myself, said the one I have for this particular exercise has no references of that.
And it was communicated to Parliament.
It was communicated, sir, with Mr.
Ngoma.
Ngoma,
you
and
very much.
he was to come back to me.
Thank you very much. Honorable Davis.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Ms. Dingi, for making yourself available. Obviously, the SABC board must, amongst other things, take gender equality very seriously. And I see that you were a volunteer in the office of the president of the ANC Women's League, Batabile Dlamini. So do you agree with Batabile Dlamini's comments when she defended Deputy Minister Manana when he attacked that young woman in a Johannesburg nightclub? Do you agree with what the minister said?
Thank you, Honorable Davis. Today's exercise and today's appointment in this room is about the interview of the South African Broadcasting Corporation and my availability and my expertise. I am here as an individual, not on behalf of any political party or any political leader. I am no spokesperson for any political leader. I therefore find that question for me, Honorable Member, very irrelevant for me to comment at this space or to say anything about it.
So can we assume that you do agree with Batabile Dlamini's comments when she defended the Deputy Minister's attack on that young woman?
Thank you, Honorable Davis. I believe Honorable Mamba Tabile Dlamini is the minister and also she is the president of the Women's League. There are structures to be followed should you wish to send your questions. She's got a spokesperson, she's got an office that handles those kind of queries, and
Chair,
I'm none.
It's fine, it's fine. She's just going to evade the question. I think we all know how she's answered the question. Ms. Dingi, can I ask you, do you agree with the ANC's policy of cadre deployment? And do you agree that when the ANC deploys people to boards, that they must be loyal and disciplined cadres to the movement first and foremost?
Thank you once again, Honorable Davis. Honorable Chairperson, I have accepted the meeting on this room to come and discuss my expertise for the public broadcaster SABC, how I can play a role. I do not see any relevance of any political party questions for SABC. SABC has no affiliation to any political party. I therefore do not find any answers to your questions, sir.
I think the way to go, if the candidate is uncomfortable to respond to a question, is to say, I'm uncomfortable. And I think that must be done, because delving again into issues of political parties, I'm saying this for the second time, I think it's going to create problems. So you are free, if you are uncomfortable to respond to a question that causing discomfort to you, you are free to not to respond to the question.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Proceed. No. Let's not do this. You will find time to raise questions. Let me chair the meeting. Continue, ma'am.
No, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I am ready for the panel to continue. I was just uncomfortable with the political party questions.
You, Honorable Davis.
Thank you, Chair. Frankly, it's not our problem that you feel uncomfortable. If you feel uncomfortable, then you shouldn't have made yourself available to the board. You cite Jacob Zuma, Batabile Dlamini, Edna Molewa, Jackson Mthembu, and Lindiwe Zulu as your references, clearly indicating that you are an ANC deployee to this board. So why won't you answer very simple questions about whether or not you agree with the ANC's policy of cadre deployment?
Thank you, Honorable Davis, once again. Please elaborate to me if...
Just check one. Just for a second, Chair. I want to check if...
Can we let the candidate respond to questions? And then if there are issues, one will come back later.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I wanted to ask Honorable Davis if you could elaborate or maybe take me through in terms of the sections, whether in the Act, Broadcasting Act, the relevance of all these questions. And if it is
Chair,
a crime to have references.
Sorry, with respect, it's not my job to answer the candidate's questions. It's her job to answer the panel's questions.
Proceed, ma'am. You heard what the member say.
Yes, perhaps let me put it this way, Honorable Davis. Maybe I need clarity as to where are these acts? Where does it say? Where does it say it is crime to have references of ministers?
I asked you whether or not you agree with the ANC's policy of deploying cadres to the board. And if so, do you think that when cadres are deployed to the board, they should be loyal and disciplined cadres of the movement first and foremost? That was my question.
Thank you, Honorable Davis. I wouldn't agree for any party, whether it is the African National Congress or Democratic Alliance, to deploy any cadres to the SABC board, because SABC board is non-affiliated to any political party.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I gave you more minutes.
Chair, I lost a lot of minutes because she was evading my questions and there was a lot of interference. I do have one more question, and it's not on this topic.
Honorable Davis, I gave you additional minutes because I intervened. So I added those minutes. Your time now is up.
Chair, it doesn't feel like I've had my full 5 minutes with
You
respect.
did. You
There was
did.
a lot of interference, there was a lot of interjections, and I don't think I managed to get my third question in, and I've got 3 questions.
I'm looking at the watch, but we can proceed so that there are no issues.
Thank you very much.
1 minute will
Thank
be
you.
fine.
I see that your company, Umbokodo VIP, submitted a tender bid for providing the infrastructure for the June-July Cabinet Lekgotla in 2016. The average bid was around 1.5 million, but your company submitted a bid for 4.1 million. Why was your bid so inflated, and did you eventually get that tender?
Thank you, Honorable Davis. Pokoto VIP, which is a private company, and the public broadcasting services, I'm trying to find the synergies in between. Where does it fit in, the tenders of a private company within the public broadcaster?
Chairperson, I think let's allow the candidate to go home. Please.
No.
Chairperson, let us not turn this parliament into a mockery.
Honorable Laws, you can't just talk.
No, but I'm interjecting respectfully, Chairperson.
No.
You can't allow a candidate to come and mock parliament. With respect, there's been judges that have come here. There've been honorable people who have been working very hard in their lives from all spectrums of life. With respect, let us be taken serious. Either a person takes us seriously or excuses us. Because if they are not prepared to answer our questions, the exercise is futile. I beg with you, with respect, protect at least the integrity of this process.
Honorable Sede?
Before I come to this one, Honorable Chair, when my hand was up earlier, I wanted to check if the CV that Honorable Davis has is the very same one that I'm talking about, that I have before me. Because the one where there is a reference of Jacob Zuma, I don't have it. The one that I have has got...
The first CV reflects what Honorable Van Dam was saying.
Yeah.
She corrected that, sent another CV.
Yeah, that's the one
which you have.
Yeah, but
Which
the
you
one, but I'm saying the one where she has indicated Honorable Jacob Zuma as a referee, I don't have it.
No, it's the first CV that she withdrew.
Okay, no, that's fine, that's fine.
And then she sent this other.
Okay, but going back to the issue that Honorable Ngozi is raising, I think panel members are expected to score the candidate at the end of the process. It is on the basis of the responses that the candidate is providing to the panel that you'll have to take into consideration whatever issues they're raising. So it will be very unfair for us to say the candidate must now leave. We're in the process of interviewing her. Let's conclude. It is on the basis of her responses that Honorable Ngozi will score her accordingly in terms of how she's responding. That's my understanding. So I'm saying it can't be correct to release the candidate on the basis that Honorable Ngozi is not satisfied with the responses.
No, we can't get into. No, members.
Chair, you've allowed them to speak. Can I also speak?
No.
I think it's also a duty of you, Chair, to make sure that people who appear before us give us answers.
No.
You cannot allow her to get away with it. She's here, she's made herself available for a public office, and she must answer our questions. You must make her
Honorable
answer.
Laws, you started this thing, so I'll have to allow members just to speak. It will be a crisis in this panel. I can't stop here because you started. And the reason why, and maybe we should delve on this one. The reason why I said the candidate must, if she's uncomfortable with the questions that are related to political parties. Policies of political parties and what goes on into political within political parties. I said on those bases, she can't be asked, she can't be expected to respond to those questions if she's not comfortable.
I fundamentally
No,
disagree
you can't,
with
you
that.
can't just talk.
No, Chair, but you've
no.
allowed everyone to speak. I fundamentally
No.
disagree
No,
with
you
that.
can't- you can't
You
talk.
can't tell us we can't ask political questions.
No,
the
you
reason
can't
why
talk,
the
Honourable,
SABC is in
Van Dam.
trouble is because of political interference. So we must be allowed to ask those questions. I don't agree with us being censored from asking political questions.
Are you satisfied that you have defied what I was saying? Are you comfortable now? No, but you can't do that, man. If in this committee you are ready to defy what the chairperson is saying, we would rather pack and go. Because I can't tolerate that. I can't tolerate that, and I take exception on that one. Because honestly, why am I here if you will just talk? No, it can't happen that way. Honorable Dolash.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I think we have ruled on the matter. Let's proceed. But if I may appeal to the candidate before us, if she's not comfortable with the question, let her just raise that matter. Just say, I'm not comfortable, so that we proceed. But we have ruled on the matter, Chairperson. I want to appeal to members. Let's really keep it cool, Chair. Thank you.
It's a pity this is happening this way when the candidate is here. Because losing our cool is not going to assist the meeting. Because we have our own names here. We have our own names. So if we are sure that we're now Bani, it must not come to this committee. I think I'm done with you, Honorable Davis. Honorable Ndlozi? No, you can't keep the meeting in ransom. You can't. Honorable Ndlozi?
Okay, Chairperson. With respect, the process gets very difficult when we are allowed to have a to and fro with a candidate in that way. But I respect your ruling, so we'll proceed. Now, when you get on the board, we have to trust your judgment. That's why we ask for your CV, to check how you have been making judgments in the past. How is a judgment that employed a person who wrongfully interpreted in Nelson Mandela's funeral, what must that say about you as an employer, you as a leader, in relation to having to have confidence in what you will do in the board?
Thank you, Honorable Ndlozi. Can I reflect again to say the matter of Thamsanqa?
No, I'm not asking about him. I'm asking about your judgment.
Yes.
Yes, your judgment
That-
is expected to be in the board. The
Yes.
head that decided on Thamsanqa is the one I'm asking about. I'm not asking about Thamsanqa. Should we trust that head, that judgment, to be in the SABC board, if it can make such a decision?
Yes, Honorable
Okay.
Ndlozi. you can-
What is your relationship with the Deputy Minister of Communications?
Deputy Minister?
The current Deputy Minister of Communications. Do you know her?
Yes, I do.
What's your relationship with her?
There isn't any relationship
At all?
apart from she's the Deputy Minister of Communication and the leader.
Did you talk about this interview with her, about coming to the board at any stage?
Not at all, Honorable Ndlozi. not that I have spoken to any other person.
All right. In the CV that you resubmitted, there is no Jacob Zuma. But there is Lindiwe Zulu, there's Jackson Mtembu, there's Batabile Dlamini. Still, what must that say to us? For your application to be in the board, what must it tell us about you?
Thank you, Honorable Ndlozi. It must tell you that I've worked with Minister Lindiwe Zulu.
No, references. It's the reference section. What must putting her here for me to call her and ask her about you? What must it tell me about a person who wants to be in the SABC board?
These are ministers, and
Jackson
I am-
Mtembu is not a minister.
he's my former boss, he's my former leader. I cannot hide that I worked. It is through working under his leadership that I acquired some of the skills that I'm bringing to the board, should that decision be taken.
Okay, so there is a
As
big problem.
personally-
It's fine. There's a big problem of board members of the SABC who've got political sway. So you need to give us your take on giving these individuals as references who've got a political sway or who've got political office in parliament and in government. You must tell us, what does it mean for us and for you being in the board? Because we are worried about political influence.
Thank you, Honorable Ndlozi. I could have put other references and hidden these leaders who happen to be politically. When you work for the SABC, SABC is all about transparency. I have listed.
No, with respect, you could have put your work experiences, and I could have seen in your work experiences that you worked for these people. But you are asking me in the reference section to call them to testify about you. I must call them. That's what reference section means. So I could have known, if it's a matter of transparency, that you've worked here and here and here. But you are saying in references, refer to these people to testify about me. Why must I do that, and what must it say about you applying for an SABC board?
Thank you, Honorable Ndlozi. To answer your question, look at my expertise. Look at what I've acquired. Look at other references, because each and every department that I've worked in, I have put down those references without fear or any favor, because
Finally,
I'm not affiliated
the expertise
to
that
any
I
party.
have is you taking a decision that Janji must be the sign language interpreter, and you won't talk about it. That's the expertise. I mean, that's what you've just said to us we mustn't talk about. So what is it that we must talk about with this CV? We can't talk about your references. We can't talk about your expertise in relation to the decisions that you've made before. What exactly are you asking us to look at for us to consider your board application?
Thank you, Honorable Ndlozi. Look at my work experience
I just did. Janji is a work
over the
experience.
years.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if you looked at my CV, and I will request that you re-look at my CV very closely. You will see my expertise.
I'm done, Chair.
Honorable Matisha.
Look, it was, and that's a fact, as a result of what the committee members are talking about here, that a number of things happened. First, it's a fact that this was reported on the 29th of September in 2014, that you did all these things. Secondly, and I want to emphasize that yes, the individual here referred to, Tamzan, it's you that called him to come and interpret there. Now, it was as a result of this that two things happened, and kindly respond to that. Now, number one, the Interpreters Association suspended you and or your company from the association as a result of what you did, okay? Number two, you were suspended from the Sign Language Association. Now, these things you have not raised. Kindly explain that before I come to the second question. I say this because here we speak of integrity. And in my own opinion, I put it to you that there is no integrity altogether on your side, unless, of course, you prove me otherwise.
Thank you, Honorable Matisha. With due respect, sir, I wouldn't want to utilize this platform to divulge confidential information between an issue and the matter of an employer and an employee. Number two, I am not aware of any suspension or any allegations, but I believe my exercise of today is that one of the SABC availability for the board. And if I could be scrutinized on questions concerning my experience and expertise for this exercise.
Okay, no, that's fine, madam. But all that I wish to say is that you were requested by the honorable chairperson there that you should, raise all these things that may be a problem, whatever. And you have not mentioned these things, okay? But I want to emphasize that in my own opinion, you are not fit, because as long as you are not honest, that to me, it becomes a problem. And I further am saying that you knowing these things, the association, for example, the Interpreters Association having given you these letters, and the association having given this information to the nation on the 29th of September, it was reported to the people of South Africa. In my own opinion, you have a problem. But then I have 4 other questions which I wish to leave because I don't think it's necessary altogether. I don't think so. So good luck in the, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Machoba.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, sisters.
Good morning, Honorable Machoba.
Welcome to the committee panel. Mine, Chair. Okay. My question is, okay. Do you know why you interested to be a board member? Why you interested to be a board member? Just a simple question.
Thank you, Honorable Machoba. I availed myself as an individual of the Republic of South Africa, with my own rights as a person, for the public broadcaster who is for all. I am interested to play part in the public broadcaster that represent me as a person, a public broadcaster that talk to my values, a public broadcaster that I would love to see change and play my part in terms of the young women and youth participation. I am interested because of the experience that I've acquired over the years that I feel they very much are relevant to give back.
Do you know the role of the board members in SABC?
Thank you, Honorable Machoba. Yes, I do, ma'am.
You do.
Yes.
Okay. What conduct talks direct to you as individual in the board is very critical? What that conduct? If you will selected as a board member.
Thank you, Honorable Machoba. The main thing would be the integrity. The honesty, and to put the mandate of the SABC before my needs, which represent the requirements of the citizens of the country. It would be what they need, not about me.
Do you think leaking of confidential information matters discussed by the board and its committees will not put you in a as a bad person?
Thank you, Honorable Machoba. It will definitely put me as a bad person. It is not allowed, and I wouldn't see why it should happen.
That means the penalty will face you if you leak any information of the SABC.
Most definitely, ma'am.
My last question, how should SABC improve content to address the notion of juniorization of news?
Thank you, Honorable Machoba. I think the first point, it would be to going back to the basics. What are the policies are saying about local content? What has been done? What are the plans in place? What mechanism is working for the public broadcaster and what is it not working? What is the view of the Republic of South Africa in terms of rebranding and resuscitating and bringing back that SABC that talks to the entire diversity, cultures, and all race of the Republic of South Africa?
Let me finish my 5 minutes, Chair, by saying with my last question. Oh, it's gone. Oh.
Your 5 minutes is gone, but I will give you a chance because you didn't finish your 5 minutes earlier. So 1 minute, yeah.
Over the years, SABC has curtailed its content production capacity making. It reliant from outsourced content. Do you think that is a correct content development strategy? or model?
Please repeat, ma'am.
Over the years, SABC has curtailed its content production capacity, making it reliant from outsourced content. Do you think that is a correct content development strategy or model?
Thank you, Honorable Machoba. SABC, it's for all. Therefore, all South African, they've got sense of ownership. They have got their own right to participate in terms of developing and bringing new innovative strategies. I do not see any wrongdoing subject to that. The content and the procedures followed are according to the Broadcasting Act as well as the Constitution and the guiding policy documents.
Thank you very much. Can I request the gentleman with a cap? Your phone is disturbing, sir. Can you put it on silent mode or switch it off? Thanks. Honorable Tolasha.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning, Cigi.
Good morning, Honorable Talasha.
Can you just very quick outline your understanding on why we are embarking on this exercise of interviewing SABC board members? Why? Because it was not supposed to be like that. And the second one, please take us through on the knowledge that you have on the three-tier system and its importance, and the role that the SABC should play in that. Also, lastly, demonstrate to us your knowledge of digital media and its impact on the traditional broadcasting services. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Talasha. If I may, I'm going to answer the first one, and perhaps with your permission, you can pause and then refresh me on the second one. The reports is out in the public space. The challenges that have faced our public broadcaster over the years, and also the decline in terms of the finances, and also the viewership, and also the investors, and also the detachment of the South African from the programs. And the review, as well as the ad hoc committee of Parliament on the recommendations that the previous board, the verdict was that they need to be relieved from their duties. It is one of the reasons why now there's this exercise to appoint new board members, which will be permanent, because the current ones, they were appointed for interim.
You speak about the three-tier system and its importance.
Thank you, Honorable Tolasha. The SABC's core business, it is indeed to give a balanced information to all citizens. It is to entertain all audience, and it is to unite the diverse cultures. In all this...
Chairperson, sorry to interrupt. She's reading the answer. So I'm just wondering how she would have known the question in advance so that she could read the answer in this interview.
Continue.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. SABC, it is for the public. It is for commercial broadcasting. And it's for the community. And its mandate.
Chair, sorry to interrupt, Chair. We're not testing the ability of candidates to read, we're testing their knowledge. The candidate is still reading the answer. Can she just speak about what she knows at the SABC without reading off a script?
Members? Can you stop this? Kungubela?
Can we appeal again, Chair, that we should not prescribe how the candidate should respond? We should assess and score, like Honorable Sedi said. And because if we follow that pattern, you will actually prescribe in line with our preferred taste, and it's going to undermine the whole process. I request, Chair, we proceed.
I really don't understand the difference between laptops that were used here and what the person has prepared to respond to questions. Because there is no difference. This thing has been happening, people looking at their notes in laptops. Proceed, ma'am. Honorable Tolashe, we stopped your time then. We're starting again.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The three I could mention, Honorable Tolashe, which are the mode of funding for the South African Broadcasting Corporation. One is government subsidy through advertisers and TV licenses. You can proceed, ma'am, with the
Unless you are giving me an extra minute, of which I'll be very happy to. Oh, she wants me to refresh. On the three-tier
Quite.
system, I think I've dealt with that one, Chairperson. And the first one, if now Ms. Dingi can take us through on her knowledge on the digital media and its impact in the traditional broadcasting services. Thanks, Chair.
Over to you and round up, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair. My understanding on the DTT is that it is a way of broadcasting with moving along with times, and it is a transition phase from the analog to digital. If I would make an example, the technologies have changed. We all understand that the SABC is your traditional media access of information. However, due to changing times, there are needs to move. An example, there are many sources of information.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Honorable Kalako, it's your turn, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I'm covered, Chair. I think all the questions have been asked, which are...
Thank you very much, sir. Do you have any questions to the panel, Ms. Dingi?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think I got a bit distracted. I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for coming. Thanks for your contribution. You may be now excused.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Go well, ma'am. Members, we are going to break for.
The candidate is on her way to the door. I would really want to raise something with the committee. Yes, without her.
Yes.